So we decided to do a quick economics video here because of the current situation when it comes to the Federal Reserve and the meeting from yesterday. So the Federal Reserve turned green when it came to being dovish on financial policy. Now, obviously, they're not going to lower interest rates anymore because they're currently zero. But if you haven't listened to what Peter Schiff has been saying, well, I highly suggest that you do. Check out the Peter Schiff show. What he's talking about in this portion of the segment is about how the Federal Reserve thinks it's better for you to have a 2% inflation rate than a 1% inflation rate, and how that's better than a 0% inflation rate because reasons. And the reasons are bankers' pockets must be lined because that is the one financially gaining party from inflation. Inflation hurts everybody else, and it's typically caused by the money supply. The problem with inflation is that it's calculated using a thing called the CPI. So we're going to have inflation numbers that are completely out of whack for various different reasons. One, we see an increase in fuel prices. That's just happened, and by the way, that will disproportionately affect the poor. We've got essentially what amount to economic sanctions on the rich, which is going to cause business to flee the U.S. That will cause additional price increases. We're also seeing at least a third year here, possibly 4 years. You could make the argument that we're going into 4 years, but at least 3 years of price inflation due to actual price increases. So, in any case, the price in U.S. dollars of the basket of goods calculated in the CPI is going to be all over the place. Think about the way rents are currently affected. All of these things are going to make the inflation numbers look lower than they actually are. You will notice incredible price fluctuations. Let me just play a little clip from the Peter Schiff show here, because basically what I'm doing is I'm adding on to what Peter has said in the recent portion of this broadcast. So when you look at things like the increase in gold prices, crypto prices, silver prices, and the prices of other commodities, some of those commodities price increases are not just a weakness in the U.S. dollar, but are real price increases, the same way we would get price decreases if certain things got automated, for example. Anyway, here's a clip from Peter Schiff.
Are actually smaller than the ones we're going to get in 2022 and 2023. Maybe we are now on the road, finally, to inflation rates that exceed the rates of inflation that we had in the 1970s.
So in any case, when Jerome Powell was asked what the Fed would do if they discovered that inflation rates would be higher than 2%, Powell stated that he didn't know, and he won't even imagine such a scenario or honor the question with an answer. So the point is, don't be surprised to see inflation rates well above 3%, and don't be surprised to see price spikes that you would not believe. So we on our channel have been calling for price strikes for years here, and they've manifested. And also, by the way, remember last March when we were informing people that silver was at less than $12 per ounce. So that being said, I just wanted to do a quick little blurb here about inflation, the consumer price index, which products are going to be reflected in the consumer price index, and give all of you viewers on YouTube a heads up about it, because it might be interesting information for you to know. And remember, folks, some inflation is caused by an increase in the money supply, and other inflation is price inflation. So you don't necessarily need to have a shortage to have price inflation. In other words, for example, last year, the price of toilet paper increased. Why? Because of hoarding. A simple effect of the supply and demand curve. So don't be a supply and demand denier. Just understand that this is going to happen. The Fed is going to continue to state that a 2% inflation rate is good, and it's better than a 1% inflation rate, and that's better than a 3% inflation rate. And it all has to do with who's getting the interest payments. In any case, I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. smAsho, and we'll see you next time here at the Smash News Network. Least busted. Name in news. Not made in China.